A social media page appeared overnight, filled with rumors and doctored photos, designed to humiliate and isolate. The school became a battlefield, not just of words but of hearts and reputations. One evening, as Amara and Zola prepared for bed, a knock on the door startled them. Mrs. Kamau, the dorm supervisor, stood there, her expression grave. "We need to talk," she said quietly. In the dim light of the hallway, she lowered her voice. "There are serious concerns about your conduct. The headmaster expects you both in his office tomorrow morning." The girls exchanged a glance, the weight of reality settling like a stone in their stomachs. That night, the darkness in dorm room 17 was thick and heavy. Amara lay awake, thoughts swirling, memories of laughter, stolen glances, and the unbearable cost of a love that dared to bloom in hostile soil. Zola's steady breathing beside her was a fragile anchor in the storm. Neither knew what tomorrow would bring, but one thing was certain. Nkwe Boarding School would never be the same again. The sun barely filtered through the grim windows of the headmaster's office, casting long shadows that stretched like fingers across the polished floor. Amar and Zhao and Zolambeki stood side by side, their faces pale but defiant, as the headmaster fixed them with a stern gaze. "Sit," he commanded, his voice as cold and sharp as the early morning air. The room smelled of old wood and leather-bound books, but to Amara and Zola, it felt like a cage closing in. "Reports have reached me," he began, "of inappropriate conduct between two students that threatens the moral fabric of this institution." His eyes locked on theirs, waiting. Amara swallowed hard. "Sir, we have done nothing wrong." Zola's voice was steady. "We have only grown closer as friends, nothing more." The headmaster's lips tightened. "Friendship has limits, Miss Mbeki. Nkwe Boarding School has rules. Rules that protect the reputation of the school and its students." He paused, letting the weight of his words sink in. "You understand the consequences should these rules be broken." The girls nodded silently, the unspoken threat hanging heavy. Outside, in the dim corridors, whispers echoed like ghosts. The news of the summons spread swiftly, carried on nervous tongues and curious eyes. Lillian and Sarah watched with triumphant smiles, their plan nearing fruition. "We've cornered them," Sarah murmured. "Now to finish it." But Daniel Mwangi, sensing the danger spiraling beyond control, confronted Lillian in the hallway. "This is going too far," he warned. "You're not just hurting Zhao and Becky, you're tearing the whole school apart." Lillian's eyes narrowed. Sometimes destruction is necessary to maintain order. Daniel shook his head, frustration etching his features. "You don't understand what you're unleashing." Back in the office, the headmaster's voice softened slightly. "I am willing to offer leniency, but only if there is a clear end to this closeness." Amara's heart thundered. The choice was stark: deny what she felt and protect her future, or embrace the truth and face exile. Zola glanced at Amara, searching for a sign. "We need time," Amara whispered finally. "To think." The headmaster nodded curtly. 24 hours. That night, the girls met in secret beneath the ancient fig tree, their sanctuary from the storm. "Do you think we can survive this?" Zola asked, eyes shimmering with unshed tears. Amara reached out, fingers entwining with hers. "I don't know, but I'm not walking away." The weight of their secret felt heavier than ever, but in that moment, their bond was unbreakable. But the school was a cage tightening its grip. Anonymous notes continued to appear, threats whispered in dark corners. The social media attacks grew vicious and relentless. Even some teachers avoided them, unwilling to be caught in the crossfire. The pressure mounted, threatening to crush their fragile hope. The next morning, as dawn painted the sky in hues of pink and gold, Amara and Zola stood before their dorm room mirror, faces pale but determined. Whatever came next, they would face it together. Because at Nkwe Boarding School, love was a rebellion, and rebellion came with a price. Nkwe Boarding School rarely slept. The night hummed with secrets, whispered fears, and restless minds. Outside dorm room 17, the hallways were cloaked in shadows, but inside, The storm raged louder than ever. Amara Njau sat on the edge of her bed, her face pale in the dim glow of a single lamp. The note from the headmaster lay crumpled beside her, a stark reminder that their fate hung by a thread. Across the room, Zola Mbeki paced, each step a silent echo of the turmoil inside. "We can't keep living like this," Zola said finally, her voice taut with exhaustion. Amara looked up, her eyes glassy but resolute. "What choice do we have? They want us to break." Zola's fists clenched. "Then we fight. Together." The days that followed were a relentless trial. Lillian and Sarah's campaign grew bolder, their whispers sharper. They manipulated friends and foes alike, turning the school's social fabric into a battleground. At lunch, Amara faced a barrage of cold stares and snide remarks. "Njau and Becky? That's disgusting," someone hissed as she passed. Zola, too, was not spared. Scholarship friends advised caution. Others distanced themselves to avoid the fallout. Even some teachers avoided eye contact, their silence a deafening indictment. In the midst of the chaos, Daniel Mwangi became an unexpected ally. Late one afternoon, he found Zola sitting alone beneath the fig tree, her shoulders hunched. "You're stronger than you think," he said quietly, sitting beside her. Zola met his gaze, a flicker of gratitude breaking through the despair. "I don't know how much longer I can take this." Daniel's voice was firm. "You're not alone. We'll find a way." Meanwhile, Amara grappled with her family's expectations. At a rare weekend visit home, her mother's icy disappointment was palpable. "You bring shame with these rumors," her mother said sharply. "You must end this, for the family's sake." Amara's heart ached. "It's not like that." Her mother's eyes hardened. "It must be. Nkwe will expel you if this continues." The threat hung over her like a guillotine, severing the fragile threads of hope. Back at school, the pressure reached a boiling point during the cultural festival rehearsals. Forced to perform together, Amara and Zola struggled to maintain the delicate balance between partnership and wariness. In a rare moment of frustration, Amara snapped, "This isn't a game, Zola. People want us to fail." Zola's eyes flashed. "Then let them watch us rise." Their shared defiance was a spark in the darkness. But the school's walls whispered betrayal. One evening, Amara's phone buzzed with a message. A photo of her and Zola, taken without their knowledge, circulated with cruel captions. The line had been crossed. In the quiet hours, the two girls sat side by side, the weight of their secret pressing heavily. "We can't keep hiding," Amara said softly. Zola nodded. "But the world isn't ready." Their love, a fragile flower in a harsh landscape, was under siege. As the festival day dawned, the school held its breath. Behind the masks of tradition and celebration, a deeper drama simmered, one that would shake Nkwe's very foundations. The morning sun filtered softly through Nkwe's towering jacaranda trees, petals drifting like confetti across the red dirt paths. The school was alive with a nervous energy. Today was the annual cultural festival, a day meant to celebrate unity but tinged with an undercurrent of tension that clung to every corner. Amara Njau stood before the cracked mirror in dorm room 17, smoothing the fabric of her traditional dress. Her fingers trembled slightly. This was supposed to be a day of joy, but for her and Zola, it felt like walking a tightrope over a canyon. Zola entered quietly, carrying a basket of props for their dance. Their eyes met briefly, a silent communication heavy with meaning. They were partners in the dance and now, more than ever, partners in defiance. "Ready?" Zola asked softly. Amara nodded, forcing a smile. "As ready as I'll ever be." Outside, the festival grounds teemed with students, teachers, and visiting parents. Colorful stalls showcased crafts from different Kenyan tribes, music echoed from the stage, and dancers rehearsed their steps. The scent of grilled maize and roasting coffee hung in the air. The students' laughter and chatter belied the undercurrent of whispers about Amara and Zola's rumored closeness. Eyes followed the two as they moved through the crowd, some filled with curiosity, others with disdain. Lillian and Secre, perched near the judge's table, exchanged smug glances. Their scheme to destabilize the pair had succeeded in stirring the school's waters into a boiling point. As the festival's opening drumbeats echoed, Amara and Zola took their place on the stage, their bodies poised but their hearts pounding. Their dance was a blend of traditional rhythms and modern flair, a metaphor for their complicated worlds colliding. Each step was deliberate, a silent declaration that they would not be broken. From the crowd, whispers swelled into murmurs, then sharp gasps as Amara's hand brushed Zola's during a particularly intimate movement. Cameras flashed, capturing the moment that would soon become the scandal's epicenter. Backstage, tension crackled like static electricity. Lillian seized the moment, whispering to a teacher nearby, "Did you see? That's inappropriate. They're crossing lines." The teacher's eyes narrowed, uncertain but pressured by the growing storm. After their performance, Amara and Zola retreated to the solitude of their dorm, breathless and trembling. The applause was a distant echo. The reality of what awaited them closed in like a shadow. "There will be consequences," Amara said, voice barely above a whisper. Zola nodded. "But at least we showed them who we are." That night, the school was ablaze with rumors and accusations. Social media exploded with images and comments, some supportive, many hateful. A student's voice rang out in the dining hall, cutting through the tension. "This isn't just a scandal. It's a threat to our school's values." Others shouted back, sparking a heated debate that split the student body. Amara's phone buzzed incessantly with messages, some from concerned friends, others from cruel strangers. The weight of public scrutiny pressed down, suffocating and relentless. Her mother's words echoed in her mind, the coldness from their last visit a sharp reminder of what was at stake. In the following days, the school administration summoned both girls separately. The headmaster's warnings were harsher, the potential punishments more severe. But neither Amara nor Zola wavered. Their bond had become a beacon in the darkness, a dangerous light that refused to be extinguished. One evening, Daniel found them under the fig tree once more. "You're braver than most," he said quietly. "But this fight will cost you." Amara's gaze was fierce. "We've already paid." Zola nodded. "And we're not done yet." Nkwe Boarding School's once vibrant atmosphere had shifted to a tense quiet, as if the very air held its breath. The cultural festival's aftermath lingered like a wound, raw and unhealed. The scandal surrounding Amara and Zola had fractured not only their lives but the entire school community. The sun poured through the tall windows of the school chapel as Amara sat alone in a pew, her hands clenched tightly in her lap. The hymn melodies floated softly but felt hollow to her ears. She glanced at the stained glass depicting angels and saints, wondering how forgiveness could be so distant from her reality. Her phone buzzed, a message from her mother. "We expect you home next weekend. We must talk." The simple words carried the weight of a verdict. Across the campus, Zola walked the dusty path toward the library, her shoulders squared despite the whispers trailing her like a shadow. She was met by Mumbai, who approached with cautious concern. "How are you holding up?" Mumbai asked gently. Zola forced a small smile. "Better than I should be. But I'm tired, Mumbai. Tired of hiding, tired of fighting." Mumbai's eyes softened. "You're not alone." In the dining hall, the divide between the privileged and the scholarship students had deepened. The once polite distance was now a chasm filled with venomous looks and cold shoulders. Lillian, triumphant, basked in her victory, but her smile never reached her eyes. The chaos she had unleashed was spiraling beyond control. Secre pulled her aside one afternoon. "We need to be careful." The administration is watching. Lillian's eyes narrowed. Let them watch. They won't stop us.